And away we go on a snowy Wednesday in the Mile High City. It is orange and blue today. Cecil, Lammey, Andrew, Mason. Mace, I trust your travels went well, even having to deal with the snow when you got back to Denver.
I'm here, so I'd say that's the sign that they went well.
No accidents, no sliding around, nothing?
No, I'm here safely, talking with you in my warm studio. All good, all well, no complaints.
Warm and cozy. Hope y'all are out there as well, staying safe and staying home or driving slow if you have to get out there. Broncos were out there, and well, I imagine, Mace, they were in the training facility today, not outside. Yes.
Oh yeah, inside the Pat Bowen Fieldhouse because it was snowing, and I do wonder if that was a reason why DJ Jones was not on the practice field today. DJ Jones did not practice for the Broncos, and would not at all surprise me if that were the case because they were on turf today. That you had the ankle injury that he had Sunday night. Are you electing to be cautious? Of course, he didn't return to the game after suffering the ankle injury. He was out there walking around, just not taking part. He was walking around. He wore, one of those, jerseys, the, shirt jerseys with his number on and all that. So he was out there just observing, but wasn't practicing. Nate Adkins, by the way, Sean Payton was optimistic that he could return this week, but Nate Adkins also not out there as well. I imagine they'll be back outside on Thursday because no inclement weather expected. It'll be cold, but they can get the fields cleared and all that. And certainly they want to practice on grass because they'll be playing on grass Sunday in Vegas.
Yeah, Sunday in Vegas. Will be here before you know it. They're battling the elements today, and they're battling a no balance conversation. Something that we'll get into, and then we'll get into some news items and some locker room clips. But coming up in December, you got 5 games left, Mace. Do you believe, and I'm not saying 100 yards for RJ Harvey, but do you believe as a team they can get to close to 100 yards? Right? I feel kind of bad asking because it's like it's only 100 yards rushing as a team combined. When they won Super Bowl 50, they averaged 96 yards rushing in the postseason. And that was largely C.J. Anderson. Ronnie Hillman, the leading rusher during the regular season. Now, with RJ Harvey being the lead back, can they get enough? Can they get to 100? 114 is the average for a Super Bowl champion over the last 25 years. Broncos in Super Bowl 50 were obviously below that. I'm just saying, can they get to that triple-digit number as a team in December?
The trend isn't going in the right direction, is it?
That's not the answer I wanted.
I'm sorry, but the last game with J.K. Dobbins, 84 yards, that was against the Raiders on Thursday night. That was just a struggle all around for the Broncos on offense. 59 rushing yards against the Chiefs, 87 rushing yards against Washington, and those 87 rushing yards coming on 23 attempts. So you were under 4 yards a carry for the game. I mean, your guy, but your 2 guys who led you in yards per carry, Bo Nix 8.0 yards a carry, Marvin Mims 1 carry for 9 yards. So you take those 2 out. If you just go by the 2 running backs, because Tyler Bidet did not have a rushing attempt. He had 3 receptions. RJ Harvey, Jaleel McLaughlin, 59 yards on 19 attempts. That's a little over 3 yards a carry, with Jaleel averaging 4.0 and RJ not even getting to 3.0, which, especially after he had 11 yards on that first run to start the game, that's very concerning right now. So RJ's got a low success rate, and he's also got a declining per carry average. Look, last year we talked about Javonte Williams and a low per carry average. Oh, yeah. You have to have the conversation about RJ Harvey as well, especially when the trend is going in the wrong direction. Cease, just to kind of just go through it here. The last 4 games for RJ Harvey, his per carry averages are 2.5, 2.3, 2.7, 2.7. Now, the first of those, 2.5 yards, that was on 2 attempts against Houston. Against Las Vegas, 4 carries for 9 yards, 2.3. The 2 games he's been the lead back, 2.7 yards a carry, 11 for 30 against Kansas City, 13 for 35 against Washington. That's not going to get it done at all.
No.
That's a concern right now. If you're looking at this offense, what's troubling you right now? It's the run game right now that's troubling you. Because if you can't get this going and teams are more keyed on stopping Bo Nix in the passing game, you're going to make it more difficult for him, and then you're going to fall into some trouble here. So if they can't get it fixed, it's a ticking time bomb.
It's something that'll bite him in the backside, that's for sure. Mace, I stole a line from us on OBT to use on the radio, and I was like, do they have an extra gear? That extra gear is RJ Harvey and Evan Ingram. Things look better for Evan Ingram. But, like, if RJ could get it, 4 yards a carry for RJ specifically, like 60 yards a game on 13 carries.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. If he could get to that number, even if one of those carries is like a 30-yarder, and then there's a bunch of 1-yard ones, like, still get that healthy average up. There's your extra gear for the Broncos offense.
You want to know something bonkers on RJ?
What's bonkers?
He's got 279 rushing yards this year, and 90 of them come on 2 carries.
Whew.
The 50-yarder against Tennessee, the 40-yarder against the Cowboys.
It's a third of your yards.
Yes, like nearly a third of your yards on 2 carries, and the other 72 it's 72 for 189 on the rest of them. That's a concern, and that's why you're talking about a low success rate, because he's not getting the jabs as often as you'd like. Like, you're looking at his long rushes in some of these games, and you're only seeing a double-digit carry in 3 of the games so far for RJ Harvey. He's proving very effective as a pass catcher, and that's something that is encouraging if you're talking about RJ building confidence. Maybe that can translate to what he does on the ground. But he's going to have to step it up, and he's going to have to grow in a hurry, maybe a little faster than the Broncos were anticipating.
Yeah, we always talk about microwaving things, like, microwave, because you know what's going to happen is everyone's going to dare you to run. We don't think RJ Harvey can beat us, so we're going to drop 8, and we're just going to, like, cluster things up for Bo Nix. Were you shocked or dismayed or surprised by how much zone the Commanders played against Bo? We've seen Bo look better against zone, but that was their plan to stump Bo Nix, and Bo Nix got him with arguably his best 2-game stretch of this season, the last 2 contests.
I wasn't surprised at that, honestly. I do think the template for beating the Broncos potentially was more on the defensive side. As far as against the Broncos defense, I don't think that there was much in this game that you're going to see potentially translate going forward in terms of what Washington did. So that's why, I wasn't surprised, but I'm not looking back very much at Washington's tactics, quite frankly, Cecil, in this game.
Okay. Well, we'll look forward and see what the Raiders can do. By the way, Chucky asking about the offensive line, and the belief from Chucky and perhaps others is that the offensive line isn't creating any holes. Mace, I see that as categorically incorrect. Incorrect. I can't speak English, but Chucky, I would say this: the holes are there. RJ either bounces outside or he just waits too long and hesitates. When the hole does develop in front of him, there's a bit of hesitation. So he's bouncing when he can't do that, or the hole's there and the timing with him isn't there.
Once again, you're talking about an offensive line that's in the top quarter of the league in run block win rate. They're 7th in the league. Not quite as good as they were last year, but they're still very effective, more effective than most. Right. And with this same line, J.K. Dobbins was killing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key thing. When you've got the same line, the same performance, and one running back is consistently doing pretty well and another running back isn't, it's, okay, what's the difference here?
Yeah.
RJ's got to grow. RJ's got to, got to make some progress, got to see things a little bit better. Just be a little bit more decisive and willing to attack that crease when it flashes open. It's there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's there. And there's another way that it could be there, Mace. Fullback. I'm not saying you have to copy Buffalo. Buffalo is one of the best fullbacks in the league in Gillum. But if Nate Adkins or Adam Prentice, like if they can, and they'll take you to the ball. Now, this is how you can play off of that. Use the fullback. Tell RJ to follow the fullback. Just follow him to the hole. Be the right timing. Even do that little Thurman hop. Remember Thurman Thomas have that little hop where he'd get behind his line and he'd get behind a fullback. And I know they tried a fullback with Barry too, but certainly RJ Harvey is not Thurman Thomas or Barry Sanders. But follow the fullback. It'll take you to the hole. And then you can play off that just like the Bills do. Because later in games, their sequencing is James Cook is following the fullback. He's following Gillum. And then in the third quarter, they're going to have Gillum go to the right. And the defenders flow to their defensive left, but they're now playing off of that and going a different direction. So is a fullback, which Sean Payton loves, is that maybe a key here for RJ?
Possibly. Now, the key thing is you've got to set that up earlier in the game. It's not something you can simply go to late and say, okay,
no,
fine.
Not at all.
You have to set that up earlier in the game. And maybe you got Adam Prentice a couple of touches last week, one on the ground, one in the passing game. By the way, you've gotten Adam Prentice a catch in each of the last 3 games. So just get Prentice involved a little bit and then get him on the field a little bit more. He was, by the way, the last 5 games, his snap count has been 10, 10, 10, and then 19 snaps against the Chiefs and 16 snaps against Washington. So his snaps have gone up. His 2 highest percentage games in terms of snaps played have been the last 2. So I think maybe you are seeing some of that starting to come into play. But some of that, sometimes you'll see him as the only guy in the backfield a couple of times. I would like to see more I formation options, Bo under center and Prentice leading the way, but set that up not just as something that you use as a finishing kick, set that up earlier in the game, and also be willing to do play action out of it as well to keep an opponent honest. Be willing to go downfield with it, and then you've got them playing on their heels a little bit. Maybe get some play calls out of the old Shanahan playbook out of this, because you could do some pretty good stuff, with play fakes and fullbacks on the field back then. So that's, turn back the clock a little bit, perhaps.
I don't mind that. And you mentioned, was it 3 catches in 3 games for Prentice? Is that right? A catch in each of the last 3 games?
Yes.
The last 2 games are the ones standing out. Those were big catches. Those were, I believe, third down, like move the chain type of catches. So it's maybe Sean saves them for the gotcha moment because you'll fall asleep and you'll forget about Adam Prentice. But he's been capable on some high pressure moments. Yeah. We've seen it. We've watched plenty of football where these guys will get in a third down and you're going to trick play, go to the fullback, and then the guy's going to drop it because it's a high pressure situation. Prentice has been, and Adkins is better than Prentice in my opinion. But that's a player that's a position that they could be utilizing just a little bit more and help out the entire offense.
Yeah. And like you say, Sean Payton likes the fullback. So
he does.
Maybe something to think about.
He does it. By the way, our chat room is loving your lumberjack shirt. They love the flannel.
Thank you.
The flannel.
Someone asked me, it came up, am I in the Matrix, and saw it before. It was caught at the cusp of a wash cycle because I got back here last night and did the laundry and I wore it again today. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wearing the same sweatshirt. Jason, my buddy, noticed that, and it's like, dude, it's cold. I'm grabbing a warm sweatshirt.
This is a good snowy day shirt.
Yes.
By the way, like it's
Yes.
warm. I mean, you could wear this and then, put a jacket on, and you're good to go. Like you don't need a thick sweater or anything like that. This is nice and comfortable. So no complaints.
Comfortable's good, especially when it's snowy and cold, and my back hurts from shoveling snow. It's not windy yet, but
gotta use your knees, man. Gotta use your knees with that thing.
Gotta get a snowblower, or get BK snowblower if it runs, because he's just around the corner. Anyway,
he's very special.
He is very special. Orange and blue today. It's Cecil, Lammey, Andrew Mason. Let's get into the news of the day. But first, how about you hear a word from our sponsor?
At Ramos Law, they believe in building long-term relationships with their clients. It's never just a transaction. Their motto says it best. Ramos Law. What makes us different makes us better. And it's so true. Ramos Law, uniquely built to fight for you.
All right, Mace, where would you like to start? You were in the locker room today. You're talking to folks, some of our regulars, some of maybe not regular guys as well. So always some good information coming from the locker room.
Good information. And there was a lot of talk about just the number of close games this team has played. And, of course, the fact that they're winning them now. Ever since the Philadelphia game, the Broncos have won every one-score game they've played. Like, there's a pretty clear demarcation point from there. And it was interesting to ask some guys, okay, kind of when did things start to click? And, some guys said, hey, it really was kind of that Philadelphia game. Okay, that was really when, to use the Sean Payton phrase, confidence coming from demonstratability, that's where the demonstratability hit, that they finished in that close game, that they held off the Eagles at the end. But Riley Moss had a different answer, a different take on it, and then he had something funny to say at the end. Here's Riley Moss.
I would go back and say, that block last year, with the Chiefs in Kansas City, I think that was kind of like the, we're done. Like, it's time to change it. And, the Eagles game this year was definitely a turning point for us. And again, I'll say, like, we don't enjoy being that close at the end of the game. I'm going to lose hair. I'm going to end up bald at 35. But when we get in that position, we've been in there and we know how to handle it.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I think some of the fans might end up balding before.
I think we all got gray hair from the Broncos this year.
Yeah, like I think that may be a thing for some people after watching this team week in and week out. But I mean, talking about that Chiefs game is sort of as kind of a moment that brought them together. But remember, after the Chiefs game, of course, they lost a close game to the Chargers last year. They lost a one-score game in L.A. and then lost that overtime game in Cincinnati. And then they lost the two walk-off games at the beginning of this season. I mean, that's the thing. They didn't really kind of fix the glitch until Philadelphia, until coming back in Philadelphia. I think it was the nature of that game that they did kind of come out of nowhere. That was a game that I didn't really think was winnable for most of it. Yeah. The way the game was flowing, it was a little bit surprising. Like, oh, they've got a chance here, right? I mean, it was one of those games where I had my story written that was about a Broncos loss, basically, and then it turned. It turned
Control
pretty
A,
dramatically.
delete.
Yeah. So I think having a game like that, it very much is. It's a clear pivot, though, is the Eagles game. The Chiefs game last year is sort of it's a key moment, and certainly they played great the following week. It's a key moment in the development of this team. But that Eagles game is certainly the moment, I think, that everything pivoted, that they had to kind of overcome that. And I think even Jim Nantz nailed it in the call at that moment. I think he said something on the lines of, the Broncos have their signature win. And I don't think he says that without having gotten something from Sean Payton the day before, maybe even Payton saying something along the lines of, we're looking for that win. That
We need it.
But needing that signature win. Like that was what was missing at that point. That they needed that close win, that to finally bring this building process together. And it's not a coincidence that since then they've won every close game. It doesn't mean they're going to keep winning them all.
Right.
I mean, they might lose one, but if you look up at the end of the season, and because they've won, let's just go through Philadelphia, Jets, Giants, Texans, Raiders, Chiefs, Commanders. So they've won 7 tight games in a row during this, during this ongoing winning streak. So if you look up at the end of this season, Cease, and see that they went 9-2 from the Philadelphia game on in close games, that's the team that you say, okay, that's a team that knew how to finish, even though they would have lost 2. A team that goes 9-2 in close games, you're saying, oh, they really know how to finish out games. Doesn't mean you're perfect, but if you're winning a lot more of them than you lose, that's enough to say you have the clutch gene, the clutch gene, as it were. It doesn't, even though you may not go 100%, you may not bat 1,000 in those games.
This is a close league. Almost every game is close.
Yes.
So you got to be good at that.
Yeah, but you are going to lose some. I mean, if you somehow go through perfectly, like the Chiefs did last year, it's the extreme aberration. Like that's unusual, and regression is a blank.
Almost guaranteed. Yeah.
Regression is a blank for the Chiefs this year.
Yes.
They're finding that out.
A B word.
Yes. So, yeah.
Okay.
The other thing,
did
coming up.
Talk about this too today?
Yeah. Let's kind of play. He even said, he talked about how you have to figure out how to stop losing before you can win. We'll actually play that comment here real quick.
Well, I think the first thing is that you have to stop losing. So you got to stop beating yourself. And I don't think we've done that a lot this year. We haven't really turned the ball over at an alarming rate. Obviously there's some turnovers here and there that happen. But we haven't given up a lot of negative plays. We have, on offense. And then our defense just constantly is making plays for themselves and knocking the other team backwards. And so those things. And then we're really aware situationally of what we need to do given the time on the clock, down in distance. We're locked in as a whole team on that. We've spent a lot of time working on that. We practice it every single day. And so everybody can play freely and fly around when the situation is at its hardest. And we've been ready to do that.
Last time you played the Raiders, just 10 points, got the win, but the offense struggled.
Bad edit there, my bad, sorry.
Man, we got a little Rod Mackey on the show. That's good. Rod's a friend, right?
Yeah.
And I love that he brings that up of like, hey, you're going to play loose and free at the end. That's not just Bo, that's everybody.
Yeah.
And it comes from the confidence. What's Sean Payton saying about confidence is built?
Confidence comes from demonstrated ability. That's the
demonstrated
phrase.
Ability. I'm writing that down.
Media's heard it. Players have heard it. Like it's everybody who's been around this team has heard that guy say those words. Confidence comes from demonstrated ability. 5 words.
And haven't they demonstrated the fact they can win close games?
Yes, and they
That's
did.
why they're
And
confident.
Right. And I don't think in September they had that confidence. They had to do it. They had to break through. They had to do it against a good team. And they did. I mean, I don't think it would have been the same if they'd beaten the Eagles by 2 scores. I think it needed to happen the way it did. It needed to be a close game. It needed to be tight. Down to the wire. You look back on it now, and that's the moment the season pivoted. And that's the moment this build. It is the moment that this rebuild truly started to bear fruit. And now here you are. You haven't lost a game since then. It doesn't mean, again, you're not going to stay undefeated forever, but you now can look back at that moment and say, that's when the Broncos joined the ranks of contenders. That's when it happened.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now we know. Now we know that was the day that they went from being this, this team that was still finding their way, still figuring things out, to being a contender, a force to be reckoned with, regardless of what FPI or whatever says.
Oh my God. So we've been talking about you a lot on the air. In fact, Zach By did the whole sweep on your Bo Nix, like different numbers for Bo.
Yeah.
And Dover, I think Dover's in love with you. So he got a man crush on Andrew Mason, because he always talks about you guys loving the Simpsons. But I think there's a lot of interesting data out there. And we brought you up, I think it was 2 days ago, because of these, whoever it is, it doesn't even matter, where it's like the Chiefs are 5 and the Broncos are 12 on the power, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, yeah. Do we really have to do this? I guess so. I don't mind being the underdog. Yeah, I don't mind being the underdog. It's fine. Let everybody overlook Denver and let Denver go win.
I mean, I'm not. It's one of those things like, oh, you're upset. No, I'm not upset. I think it's fun. I think it's amusing to me, honestly.
You like shining a spotlight on certain people if they're going to say certain things. That's all.
I mean, but the data is interesting because you can't measure this team with data, and you can't. I mean,
no.
But I will say this: the data on Bo certainly shows areas where he can grow. I mean that where I put that stat out there, like in 2 minute and in overtime this year, it's 2 minute at the end of each half and overtime. He ranks 6th in passer rating in the last 2 minutes of each half and overtime. And at every other point in the game, he's 26th in passer rating. And the way I put it was like, he's Josh Allen in the last 2 minutes of each half plus overtime. And he's Geno Smith the rest of the game. This year's Geno Smith, which isn't very good.
No.
Or he's Russell Wilson in 2022. That make you shudder a little bit, right?
It does, yeah.
Yes.
You kind of don't like that at all.
You don't like that. He's a sub-mid quarterback the rest of the game. He's a low tier quarterback the rest of the game in terms of pass efficiency. And then when you get to 2 minute, when you get into tempo, when you get things going, you get into tempo and you get more moments that go beyond structure, he becomes one of the league's best quarterbacks. So
from 6th to 26th in quarterback rating, correct?
Yes. I mean, how do you start making Bo for the entire game look like the Bo when the chips are down and you're going tempo and you're trying to get things done in the crunch? I mean, Cortland Sutton said something to this effect on Sunday night. When the Broncos get the ball in 2 minutes, I assume they're scoring.
Yeah.
At this point, I assume they're getting at least 3 points out of it.
Yep.
I'm stunned when they don't. Like, they got the ball at the end of the first half on Sunday. In my mind, I thought they're getting points here. And they did. It did not surprise me one iota that they scored there. It's what I've come to expect. If they get the ball toward the end of the first half on Sunday in Vegas, if they take over with 2.5 minutes to go at their own 22-yard line, in my mind, I'm going to be like, they're going to score here because it's just what they do. And they have confidence there because they've shown the demonstrated ability to flourish in 2 minutes.
So I'm going to ask you a question because I'm ornery and I love being a contrarian. I personally don't believe this, but I think it's a great discussion only you and I can have.
Okay.
Does Bo need to do that
Do
this
what?
year? If he's great in the fourth quarter, and he's got the sixth best quarterback rating in the fourth quarter, and he's 26 all the other time, does he really need to?
Does he
I
need
think
to?
it's the guarantee on the box thing,
Yeah.
right? It would be great if he was more consistent. It would be great if he was like 10th in quarterback rating for the entire game. But what if he's 26 and he's 6th and they keep winning? I could make the same argument about like, because I personally don't like the winning streak heading into the playoffs. I kind of wouldn't mind a loss or two, especially because, and I'm not saying they should lose, so don't at me, bro, but like, the Super Bowl 50 had 2-game losing streak in December, Super Bowl 33, Super Bowl 32, like they all did.
Yeah.
And it kind of resets you. But in a way, if you're barely beating some of these teams and they kind of feel like losses, and there's so much to learn from these games, like they are learning, they are not reading their press clippings. They are not too big for their britches. So my question is merely two things. Do they need to lose? And do they need Bo Nix to be more consistent? It sounds great. Guarantee on the box. It sounds great. More consistent. They're winning, baby.
They're winning. Maybe that's where you talk about where does the other gear come from? The extra gear?
Yeah. Where's the extra gear?
Is that the extra gear? Is
Ooh,
Bo
I didn't even
growing?
think of that. Yes. Yes.
That's where it can come from.
yes.
That's the best place for it to come from because it's the most impactful.
Mm-hmm.
If Bo can grow into more than he is right now in those non-2-minute points of the game. That's the area where you can add. That's where you can get more. Because you have to deal with now the decline of the run game the last couple of weeks. And
Right.
if RJ Harvey can improve, great. But I think it's fair to accept that you probably won't get this ground game back to where it was with J.K. Dobbins, because he was
That's very
he was a top 5 running back when he got injured.
Right.
And I mean, Adam Troutman, who's pretty honest, he kind of said the thing on Monday on the conference call, that admitted, you're losing a top 5 back there. You can't expect the backup to be quite as good.
Especially
Just-
a rookie.
Yeah, it's just the reality of it. So you have to, and you're seeing it, you're expecting a regression there on the ground. You're going to have to make up that. But if Bo can improve the rest of the game, I mean, that's where the other gear comes from. Especially because, as we saw Sunday, I think we did see a little bit of a template against this defense that we will see other teams mimic. I think you're going to see, maybe not this week because the Raiders don't have all the tools to do it, but the Packers do with Matt LaFleur, and the Jaguars have some tools to do it with Liam Cohen.
Yep.
And I mean, you go beyond this game and you're getting to Matt LaFleur, Liam Cohen, Andy Reid and company. All right, you're getting into offensive minds here that are going to look at that film and say, "Ooh, I can build on this."
Thank you, Cliff.
Yes.
That's what they're going to say.
So VJ has VJ's had answers all year. So I don't doubt that he's going to have some answers here, but they're going to have to have some adjustment because you're coming off of a game here that, unfortunately for the Broncos on the defensive side, it was their least effective game since September. It was their first 400-yard game that they allowed. I mean, obviously overtime contributed to that as well, but it was their first 400-yard game since week 2. And 30 first downs allowed to Washington, season high. And even
Ouchtown population, you bro.
even without overtime, you were talking about being in the mid-20s, which was the most since the Giants game. You haven't. It wasn't one you were putting on the mantle, and that's why after the game, the defensive players sounded like what I've been hearing after games from the offensive players. Like Riley Moss sounded like Adam Troutman and Mike McGlinchey after a lot of games. Like the word, and the word I used was like, kind of like a little bit of ambivalence almost.
Mm-hmm.
You got the win, but there wasn't joy from Riley Moss. It wasn't pure joy from Riley Moss. And even Pat Surtain, the way he put it was like, I'll feel excitement about this win later. But he wasn't feeling that in the moment. In that moment, because he was kind of looking at the game and some of the things that went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. Pat, McLaurin got the better of him at times.
He did
in the game. And McLaurin's Terry McLaurin's a great player, but
his return made the Commanders' offense different.
Yeah. So maybe it was probably good for the defense to have that kind of game, but I'm eagerly anticipating their performance Sunday. I think they'll bounce back, but then I'm anticipating the games beyond it because the challenge goes up a notch, especially in terms of the offensive tacticians that you're going to see in weeks 15, 16, 17. You're getting into some of the better offensive minds in the game.
It's a good test right before the postseason. Orange Blue today here for you. Mace, you want a happy fun time question?
Happy action fun time? Sure. What the heck?
Travis asks in our chat room, Mace, I've been dying to ask you a question. What's up with all the VCU and Flying Squirrels gear? I'm a Broncos fan from Richmond, living in Virginia Beach.
I'm a native of Richmond. I grew up there. That's what it is. I am a very proud Richmonder, and I've lived a lot of different places over the years. The thing I've been reminded of in the last year or so, having had the chance to go back to my home state a few times, is Virginia's truly home. That's my home base. There's no place like it for me. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great being back there over the weekend. I made it down to Charlottesville for the Commonwealth Cup, Virginia versus Virginia Tech. That was a lot of fun. The game, it was a blowout, but it was still a good time on good, Phrygian night, little football. I felt very much at home there, like at the game. I felt very much at home. It was, I can't really explain it. It's like a warm blanket, when I'm back in my home state. So.
It's like a nice robe. It's just comfy.
Or like a comfortable flannel shirt. It felt like this shirt. Maybe that's why I'm wearing this shirt. It felt it warmed my soul.
What happened to Roanoke?
What do you mean?
The Lost Colony. I've always been fascinated.
That's in North Carolina. Yeah. What do you think? What do I think happened? I think maybe not so much legend, but the common belief is that they and the native tribes relocated back to the mainland because there were Native Americans a generation or two later that were seen by English settlers that had English features to them.
Interesting.
That those who lived on Roanoke Island, the Lost Colony, actually basically they became part of one of the tribes there. That's what I believe. That's the story I believe. So
okay, right on.
Yeah, I've actually been. They in the summers they do a play there, The Lost Colony. there in on Roanoke Island, and I've been to that. So there's Roanoke, the city in Virginia, and there's Roanoke Island by the Outer Banks in North Carolina, and I've been to both places, obviously. But yeah, so you threw me off. You threw me off guard when you said Roanoke. At first, I thought you were talking about the city in Virginia, and then you were talking about the colony.
I'm talking about the colony, yeah.
With Sir Walter Raleigh involved with that, yes. So
Very good. Listen, we got a history show. Yeah. We got all sorts of podcasts we could do, Mace.
I know. Like there's a lot we could do with that.
Roanoke After Dark.
Gosh, the Star City.
Okay. There you go.
You didn't know it was the Star City?
I didn't know it was the Star City. So is Jade Barron like the honorary mayor since he was the star at University of Texas on their defense?
I don't know. Maybe.
Right. Star City. I like that. It's good. You never know what you're going to learn on Orange and Blue today.
Well,
right?
it's because there's a star on one of the mountains, the Mill Mountain Star, kind of overlooking the town. So
nice.
The city. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Right on. I love when we can get a little off path at the end of the show.
I'm here for you to not get you back on the path, to just keep it careening off into the ditch.
We're crashing, but that's okay. We're here with you, and we appreciate you all very much. Be back out there, of course, tomorrow, Mace. As long as I don't have to dig out from adrift, I should be out there too. So
look forward to seeing you. We missed you out there today.
I look forward to. I always like talking to coordinators, so I look forward to that as well. But we're here for you, and yeah, that's a wrap for today's show. How can folks help us on our YouTube channel, Mace?
Like,
comment,
share,
subscribe,
hit that notification bell
so that you
never
miss a
vid.
He's Andrew Mason. Follow him on all the socials at Mace Denver. I'm at Cecil Lammey saying OBT's a BFD. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Would you please stay frosty?